I'm here at my local grocery store this morning to fill out my food options worksheet for the 2-week no sugar, no flour detox, and I want you to come along with me. So let's keep in mind we're trying to find items that fit within the parameters, single ingredients or an ingredient list that contains pretty much just the basics, no sugar substitutes or chemicals or anything like that. Our goal is to hopefully do 100% no sugar, no flour, but realistically it's going to be closer to 99%, as you see when you start to go through looking at ingredient lists. Sugar is hidden everywhere, folks, and we're going to try to root it out. The first section on our sheet is the produce department, and pretty much everything in here is free game, so enjoy your selection opportunities. So I grabbed some bananas, some garden salad, and some shredded lettuce. Other items I typically enjoy, and remember I'm picky, are potatoes, sweet potatoes, apples, oranges, fresh broccoli. All those would be listed down on my component list for potential meal options. So I didn't create a section for the deli. I kind of just put that under the meat and dairy departments. So you've got all sorts of different meats and cheeses over here. Again, making sure that we're taking a look at the ingredient list and there's nothing strange on there that we can't identify or might be sugar, and we're good. I definitely recommend when you're looking at meat, especially sandwich meats, watch out for the words honey or sweet. Take a look at this one right here. We have got sugar right there in the main ingredients, so sorry, you're off the list. This is a good example of the 99% rule. I'm looking at it. Sugar is an ingredient on there right after salt, but if you see it, I'm not seeing anything in the sugar column, so it probably has a trace amount. So if this roast beef is the thing that gets you through, then, you know, as long as you're not eating every day excessive amounts, throw a little bit on the menu. Of course, I did not put the bakery on the sheet because, let's be honest, there's nothing in the bakery department for you when you're doing no sugar, no flour. So the meat department, lots of options here. I'm so sorry, vegetarians, but you've got a bunch of choices. Now we're going to keep our eye out for seasoning. Again, if it's a pre-seasoned meat, especially if it's like a rib or a barbecue, you might want to look for any of that sugar mixed in the ingredient list. Here's a good example of that. You got your teriyaki style pork tenderloin. I'm looking in here. We got some total sugars hidden in there. Sugars on the ingredient list. I'm gonna have to season my own pork tenderloin, sorry. Typically your grocery store has a nice little meat clearance section here, so take a look at it. Lots of good meal options there. Personally, I'm a huge fan of chicken. I like chicken fajitas. I like to dice it up, grill it with potatoes, different things like that. And so when you get a nice little chicken woohoo deal here, take advantage of it and stock up. Lots of different meal options, lots of different ways you can prep it. All right, the same rule applies in your meat case for sandwich meats as it does over in the deli when we talked about hidden sugars. Take a good look at those ingredient lists and take a good look at the total sugars and try to minimize it as much as possible. There are sugars hidden all over the place in here, so don't just think you can grab something out. It says turkey sausage, you're like, oh, we're fine. You probably aren't, so take a good look. You definitely have lots of options in the cheese department, but again, I don't want you going straight to cheese for substitution. Use sparingly, it can get you through. If you enjoy eggs, then this is the time for you. So have eggs for breakfast or have some eggs for dinner, whatever you'd like. Eggs are on the table. So yogurts are definitely a tricky area. You're really gonna have to look at the ingredient list good here. There's a lot of milk sugars in here too, so it kind of throws you off, but just read that ingredient list looking for those sugars or artificial sugars. If they're there, let's take it off the table for 2 weeks. So we're fans of the 000 yogurt. It does have some stevia leaf extract in it, so and there's a lot of different chemical names in there I can't identify. So again, I say this is something that if you have to have yogurt and it's the one thing that's going to get you through this 2 weeks, try to make the best choice possible, minimize the amount you eat, and just get through using that. 99%, sometimes it's the best you can do. So the dairy has all sorts of milks, cottage cheese, sour creams, things like that. Remember, if you're going to go for milk substitutes, watch out for the sweetened, what it's sweetened with, check the ingredient list. I can pretty much do an entire video on my thoughts on juices, but I'm going to give you a quick summary. Even if it's 100% natural fruit juice, we're going to avoid it for these 2 weeks. And it's simply because it's just the super concentrated form of all those natural sugars that's going to hit your body in the same way as like maybe even a soda would. So if you really love the taste of orange, go buy some oranges and eat as many oranges as you want, but you've got to eat them in the original form. As you get to the frozen food section of the list, you've got a lot of options: frozen vegetables, frozen fruits, and even frozen potatoes. You've got chicken over here. You do have some meals, but man, you've got to watch that ingredient list closely when you're buying any kind of meal prep over here. So try to stick to nice frozen versions of what you like to mix in as components to that meal. So it makes everything a little more well-rounded. This is your friendly reminder in the frozen department that we are not eating sugar-free, artificially sweetened type things. So don't come over to the sugar-free ice cream and say, you know what, there's no sugar in that. No, it's got an ingredient list, it's got a lot of chemicals and crazy stuff in it, and we're going to get rid of that for 2 weeks. And then after that, if you really want some sugar-free ice cream, you can give it a try. All right, we're moving into the dry grocery section of our list, and we're in the peanut butter aisle. Let's say you want a little peanut butter to put on some apple slices. It's a tough call. You're going to want to have to spend some good money to get to that natural peanut butter level, and even then, you don't want to be too excessive with it because, again, it's in a processed state. So you're not eating a peanut in its natural form. You're eating just pureed tons of peanuts, so got to be careful there, but peanut butter not necessarily off the table in my mind. All right, sadly nothing in the cereal aisle for us if we're doing no sugar, no flour, but I want to go to the Sugar Summit sheet real quick and talk about that. I have a teenager, he likes cereal, I like cereal, we love corn pops, so guess what, he's not going to have corn pops during my 2-week time. I don't want him in the house, but he also likes Captain Crunch, and look at that, 99 cents on sale. He's going to get all the Captain Crunch he wants during this 2-week time frame because I don't like Captain Crunch. So that's the premise of the Sugar Summit, so check it out. Let's be super cautious when it comes to different fruits like these. On the surface you're thinking, hey, I'm being healthy, but take a look at the ingredient list. It's got sugar all over it and it's just concentrated, so unfortunately it doesn't work. One thing you don't see me mention a lot is different coffees and teas. Those are your personal preference. Take a look at it. Watch the ingredient list, of course. Make sure it's just coffee or just tea. No sugars hidden in there. I'm a fan of just water for 2 weeks, but if that's not your jam, then obviously you might need to grab something else. So we're here in the canned vegetables aisle and the soup aisle and the bean aisle. And I know you're tired of me saying it, but take a look at the ingredient list, and if sugar or some other chemical on there that is another name for sugar is on that ingredient list, then let's just avoid it for 2 weeks just to be safe. If not, if it's just beans in a can and you like those beans, put them on the menu for your weeks of enjoyment. And this likely goes without saying, but if you are the type of person that needs a little fruit cup or something to get you through, and that's going to help you out, definitely go for the no sugar added, natural, no, just make sure they're in water and not in syrup, things like that. Just use your common sense. Here's another one of my favorite examples. So these little tuna packets are great. Bring them in your lunch, take them in your car. Of course, the regular tuna, it's just tuna and water in the pack, is the best. They've got a lot of these great flavors in here, but you're going to find trace amounts of sugar in most. Now, I say trace amounts, so if the herb and garlic tuna creations is the one thing that's going to get you through these 2 weeks, and you want to have it every other day or something like that, then please use that to help get you through. I'd rather you have 0.5 teaspoons of a sugar in that than going and breaking down and having a candy bar or something like that. So use your discretion. All right, I'm in the pasta aisle, and you have things like this. This is a gluten-free pasta. I'm looking at the ingredient list here, and it's just white rice flour, brown rice flour, corn flour, and quinoa flour. You know, on the surface, it's fine. I'm the type of person that can't have pasta without some kind of sauce, and the sauce is what gets me. But if you're the person that can handle just some pasta and maybe some chicken or something like that, then give it a try. Put it on the menu. I've had a lot of people ask me about dressings, and dressings fall into that 99% category again. Personally, I'm not a huge dressing fan, so I don't use dressing on my salad. If you do, you know, instead of the regular ranch, if you go for a light ranch and just do a trace amount or a small amount just to give it a little bit of flavor, again, if that gets you through, that gets you through. So that helps you eat a salad a day for 2 weeks or whatever, then that's what you're going to do, and just try to minimize that as much as possible. Do I recommend going full fat, full everything, high sugar? No. So stay away from that and just kind of adjust it for 2 weeks and then see how you feel. If you're the type of person that lives for the cracker or something salty instead of being drawn to the sweet, unfortunately there's not much going on for you. There are a couple of good almond crackers out there, and I can't see them in this aisle, but if you just check that ingredient list and avoid the enriched flour, if you need a quick substitute, that might help you out. But again, the ingredient list will tell you everything you need to know. So we've got the peanut section here. Again, you've got to watch out in this area. You don't want to become too reliant on it. It's kind of in the same category as cheese, as far as like if you're just going to eat peanuts and cheese for the entire 2 weeks, you might not achieve the main health benefits that you're hoping for. But is it a good snack? You bet. But watch out. Is it dry roasted, honey flavored, or something like that? So try to get things in their natural form as much as possible. You probably could guess, but the candy aisle is not for us during this 2-week challenge. You do have sugar-free candies out there, but we are going to avoid those. That constant taste of sweet is just going to trick your brain and make it tougher for you. So we're going to avoid the sugar-free anything for right now. That same thing applies to the drinks. You know, I like a good flavored drink as much as anyone, and there's tons of sugar-free options here or light options, but for the 2 weeks, we're just going to avoid that. If you absolutely need some flavor, you know, cut up a lemon and put it in your water, or a piece of orange. Just give it a little hint of something there instead of getting a whole packet and drinking it down. All right, I hope taking you along on this shopping trip helped you out a little bit and gave you some good tips and advice. As you can see, nothing is completely black and white when it comes to eating, especially with what the food companies do as far as putting things in the ingredient list and whatnot. So best of luck. Obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email or reference some of the other videos I'll be making to kind of clarify things even more. Good luck.